When you consider going offshore, you're saying, I am willing to look for the team and the talent and the skills anywhere in the world. So, partnering with someone who is skilled in doing offshore staffing is going to save you time, stress, and literally just keep you out of that hiring loop. So, to me, this is an opportunity where you can be yourself, but you can also build a world-class team. Imagine this, you're the owner juggling endless tasks, trying to ensure that everything is getting done and relying on your team to just pitch in and do their part. You have tried time and time again to build a loyal, reliable team, but it just has not worked. We're going to discuss some of your options with offshore sourcing because a lot of people don't understand what it is. So, therefore, they avoid it and they keep doing the same things over and over again. I'm Tanika D'Souza, founder of High Octane Teams, and I run an offshore staffing agency where we build high performing global teams. My thought is you can have the talent you want and they can come from anywhere in the world. And that's what we do. We help align with you, your goals, your mission, so that you are getting exactly what you need out of your team. We're going to talk about some of the outsourcing goals. Like, what is it? How does this differ from other outsourcing options that you've heard of? We're also going to talk about some of our process, how we support you through the onboarding, how we help you transition with global staff, which maybe you've never done before. And then also, how do you ensure keeping this global team connected and intertwined efficiently and effectively into your current team? Do someone else a favor and share this video with them. So, what is offshore outsourcing? There's a lot of ways that people describe this system, but not very many people outside of people who run agencies really understand what this means. So let's break it down. In most hiring situations, most people focus on hiring local. You understand onshore or nearshore staffing, which means that you're finding talent literally that you can put your hands on. In recent years, we've all learned how to have remote teams, and that is still a lot of times included in the somewhat local, maybe remote teams. A lot of you still building teams in your same cities. The difference here is when you consider going offshore, you're saying, I am willing to look for the team and the talent and the skills anywhere in the world. Now, consider all the challenges you've had with hiring locally. Finding the people, the interview times, even just the questions that you ask candidates in order to vet the skills needed. Now, throw on top of that cultural difference, where this person lived, time zone changes. There's just a ton of things, right? So it makes offshore outsourcing a very intimidating process. Yet that is balanced with most of us understand offshore staffing and offshore outsourcing to be cost effective, right? So we're in our brains trying to balance, how can I do this when I'm not that great at local hiring, but I want the benefit of offshore staffing and I want the lower cost that's associated with hiring literally around the globe. So that's where you will decide to partner with someone who is a professional at offshore outsourcing. So that's what we're going to break down in this video is one, why you want to partner with someone, what you should be looking for in that partnership, and then what are some of the things, because that's what I do, that we offer just to give you the breadth of what you may be missing or not even considering in your hiring that we consider, that we do time and time again for several companies. So let's break down offshore staffing and why you should partner. So one, partnering with someone who is skilled in doing offshore staffing is going to save you time, stress, and literally just keep you out of that hiring loop. A lot of things that I hear is, oh, offshore staff, they're so unreliable. Like you can't count on them, they'll quit. I think honestly, for any person that said that, I can look at their hiring and vetting process and tell you that they didn't take enough time to find the team member that was going to be a good fit for their company. There are some things that you take for granted when you're local that you cannot take for granted when you are considering offshore staff. And that is where the expertise of an offshore staffing agency comes into play. There are a ton of nuances in how we vet the candidates and ask the questions and ask them for video content. And it's all because there are certain skills and things that I'm looking for that helps me understand that this candidate who's in another country will be capable to do the work and meet the expectations of a US based company or another company that's outside of where they live. So that is part of the expertise that I bring to the table, is understanding the differences and what you should be looking for in the candidates. That's just the start. Another big difference in local hiring versus offshore is literally in the posting. Where do you post? Where do you go? Where can I find these great candidates? Most people have no clue. And to be honest, even if I told you exactly the sites that I go to, the job boards that I use, they are not similar to how we use job boards and vetting systems here in the US. So even if I gave you those resources, it doesn't mean that you're going to understand how to use it. One huge difference that is almost always true in offshore staffing is once I put your job post out, I am going to be flooded with over 200 applicants. Now, what are you going to do if you open up your computer and you see 200 what you think are qualified candidates? And then how do you even vet that? In our system, one, we spend a lot of time with you up front to know what are the things your company stands for? What are your goals? What are your values? What's the temperament of your company? And there are no wrong answers. I just want to know who you are, what you stand for. So when I see 200 plus applicants, I can vet through them for the perfect candidate for your company. So that's one. Two, I am very particular when I'm working with you to find out what type of person you're looking for, right? My husband and I are very different in hiring. I like to just talk and say all these things, and I want my employees to come back with me with like lists and plans and all of that, and then I'm ready to go. Where he may go into it with like, here's the strategic plan and here's this, and then he needs them to do a deeper dive from there. The point is, every single owner, CEO that I work with, you are all different. And that means I approach hiring for you in a different way. I'm looking for a different type of candidate based on your personality, the temperament of your company. All those things are factored in. So when I open the job board and I see 200 people, I don't see 200 qualified people for you. I see 200 people that I'm going to vet down and have some very simple questions that I'm going to ask that leads me to understand, is this candidate a good fit for you? So I can easily go from 200 to about 30 very quickly, where most people cannot do that. The other side of us is I'm likely going to vet for you probably more like 600 candidates. And I didn't want to start there because 600 just feels very overwhelming. But when you understand the objectives and what you're looking for, and you have a trained staff, which is what I have, that says, here's the temperament of this company, here's what they're looking for, this is the experience needed, this is what this person is going to have to deal with on a daily basis. And we know that when we're screening through 600 applicants, this is just a really well-oiled machine for us. So those are some of the things that when you decide like, okay, should I partner with someone for offshore outsourcing or should I try this on my own? Just know that even the beginning of this process, we're not even talking about onboarding this person and understanding the cultural differences that it means or is required to seamlessly integrate this person in your team. We literally are just at job posts, right? So if you believe you can handle this on your own, try it. That's great. But take into account you're vetting for someone to be a long-term player on your team. And to me, that's where a lot of people fail. So the partnership with an offshore staffing agency like myself is one going to give you the opportunity to say in the words that are natural to you all that your company stands for, the things that you want, your expectations. And then I go out and find that talent for you globally. So to me, this is an opportunity where you can be yourself, but you can also build a world-class team. The other side of that is the cost savings, right? To me, yes, offshore staffing is always going to be more cost efficient in building your team. But some people focus on that and they really think, oh, well, over here, I'm paying X amount, but I'm going to pay like $2 and $4 for offshore staff. And that also is a really poor attitude to have. Yes, there are countries that will allow you to pay people these very low prices, but in my opinion, you should pay people to be a part of your team. You shouldn't think of their salary as like, I'm trying to save as much as possible. What you should be thinking about is, I am helping this person in their life so they can be more free to do the work that I need them to do with me, right? So it's also kind of changing your mindset about what their salary means. For me, I've come up with a strategy called the profit method that really helps you identify how every single team member should lead back to profit. So when you're hiring, you're not having the stress of thinking of your team members as overhead. You're literally like, I'm hiring a person that is solving a problem for me. Therefore, they are very valuable to my team. And then the salary is not as big of a headache. Now, are you still going to save money hiring offshore? Absolutely. But when people come with that focus and they think that the cost or the price point is super low, what I'm telling you is you can find that on your own. And what you're also going to likely deal with is very high turnover. So in my system, we help you understand where the cost is and the cost savings to your company. Especially, I'm from Washington, D.C. The minimum wage here is like 20 something, close to $20, right? So you're paying high schoolers that amount. You're not paying skilled professionals that amount. So I try to help people understand the advantages to building offshore versus building every single part of your team onshore. I would love to answer any of your questions regarding staffing, operations. Leave your questions in the comments. So we've addressed the onboarding, we've addressed vetting candidates, we've addressed cost savings. So what is it that you should be looking for as far as like partnering with a staffing agency and some of the other things that they bring to you? At High Octane Teams, we're focused on not just finding you the best fit and not just finding someone who has the skill, right? Because skill and fit to your company, absolutely important. But if you take those two things and literally just drop the person in your organization, it still has a high rate of failure. So partnering with an offshore staffing agency also gives you an opportunity for someone else to be involved in the onboarding and training of your new staff member. So I'll give you an example. A friend of mine is hiring with a different agency, and they literally find them a few candidates. This person does the interview, meaning you, the owner, would do the interview of that candidate by yourself and then make a decision. Maybe you've interviewed like 3 to 5 people and you just make your choice and say, okay, I want that person. And they pair them with you and they say, good luck, have a great time, right? In that case, I have helped my friends like, okay, here's what you should be considering. Here's what you should do. But the point is they don't have the support to properly onboard this person. Just think about that with a local person. What if you were just like, oh, this person is a talented roofer and they can do XYZ, but then all you do is just say, show up to this certain address and fix their roof, but you told them nothing. You've given them nothing about the standard that you stand for. Like, you've literally just thrown someone into work. They're not likely to be successful no matter how skilled and talented they are. So for us, it does start with a really great person, a really great fit, and the skills that are needed, but it absolutely hinges on onboarding. Onboarding is so key. And for a lot of you, you never thought this was important in the first place. So therefore, when I'm bringing it up, you are going to listen because you know there's cultural difference. There's like the syncing of time zones. Like there's all these different things. So I feel like people are more in tune to listen to this topic of onboarding and integrating your staff because they are international. But the reality is onboarding of any staff at any level of your company is crucial to the success of that employee. So this is where we absolutely are involved. We are making sure that the ground rules of like how you expect this person to show up. Do you need daily check-ins? Do you need weekly check-ins? Do you need them to be on Slack with the green light on? And whatever it is, what is it that's going to make you as the owner or their manager comfortable to work with them and to know that they are actually available and doing the job that you have set out to do? So expectations are discussed. Time schedules are discussed. Most of my companies that I have done placements for, they have some type of synchronized and asynchronized schedule with their staff. And we establish the rules of engagement up front, right? Do you need this person literally working the same exact hours that you work? Or are there certain meetings or things that they have to show up for in your time zone and they can do the rest of their work in their time zone? All of those things are discussed because when you assume that your new person is just going to be, yes, all hands in, and they're in a different time zone, in a different country, those unspoken things will kill that relationship so quickly. So we are involved. We know what the expectations are. We make sure that you, the client, the owner of your business, you are clear about what you want and what you expect. And we make sure that your new staff member understands those expectations. We're very involved in that first week, that first month of their work with you. But at the end of the day, they are a new employee on your team. So as much as we are in the background talking and making sure that things are integrating seamlessly, we're also assisting you with making sure that they're being integrated into your team just as smoothly. So it's not about like, oh, you have my person. No, they work for you. They are part of your team. But the reality is, if you don't have someone who's an expert at offshore outsourcing, then there is so many opportunities for miscommunication. And those are things that I can usually see and help and really guide you so that you're able to communicate efficiently with your new staff. So vetting them is important. You saving money on staffing is important. You onboarding them well is also important. And then finally, a big reason to partner with an offshore staffing agency is the continued relationship. I literally send my clients a message like, hey, heads up, when you celebrate Christmas, their Christmas was your Christmas Eve. You got to give them both days off, or, just the little nuances that we overlook, right? It's not just about the holidays, but it's about just understanding culturally what is going on for your team member so that you can be a better leader for them, so that you can understand what they're experiencing, what they're going through, and for your work environment, or for at least for them to be able to communicate well with you about what they may need so that they can continue to be successful. So it's a long-term partnering with my agency that allows you to be aware of cultural differences, respond appropriately in those times when miscommunication is kind of like, well, I asked for this and they didn't understand that, or here's, like some of the simple nuances is weather or time zone or days off. Like those are very simple things, but when you are used to everybody being in the same country, we use the same calendar, we follow federal, leave, and they have a different calendar. It's like what is the integration? What is your responsibility? I am not telling you you have to just give them every day-to-day request off because they make up a holiday, but what I am telling you is there you will have a partner that says, "Oh, you might want to know that literally Easter, like in the Philippines where I have a lot of staff, they love to be off like a whole week. Where Easter in the US, we celebrate Easter Sunday, Easter Monday. Small example, but huge for you to know that maybe during that week, have more asynchronized time so your staff can go off and be with their family. Like it's a very religious country, and those things are important to them. So having a partner that's paying attention to the things that you care about as a business owner, finding you the best staff possible globally, building your team cost efficiently, helping you onboard them and integrate them into your team, and then finally being there to partner with you so that you're continuing a really great relationship with someone else who lives in another country. To me, that is the benefit and the huge advantage of partnering with an offshore outsourcing agency. So it's not just about like, oh, I can do this on my own. I can figure out the vetting part. That is great. And some people can do it and they can find a really great person. But what about the long-term relationship? What we really want is the ability to hire and not have to think about it again. I'm sure you are tired of hiring locally, hiring offshore, wherever you've hired, and having to do the same thing over again. For you as a CEO, as an owner of your business, you don't have time to keep revisiting this same part of the growth of your business. If you don't have a team, there's so many things that's not getting done. So you must take that opportunity either to partner with someone who's going to have the experience, bring the expertise, and give you the talent that you need, or you're going to have to find the time to do it on your own. And you've done that before and you've tried it several times. And a lot of times, even for local, it doesn't work. So don't just look at it as, oh, here's a cost or you're going to charge me more. Think of it as a partnership. Think of it as you saving time in the future. Like think of all the other things that you're going to be able to do with your time and your energy when you're not focused on growing your team, revamping your team, rehiring, dealing with like little nuanced communication things. Like what if you had a partner who was helping you manage those aspects of your team growth? There's plenty of other things that you as a leader need to be focused on. Team building, you can definitely outsource. To learn more about high octane teams and the method that we use, which is our profit method, you can go to our website and learn a bit more about us, but schedule a time to talk to me so that you can start moving forward in building your team cost efficiently with less stress and really start knocking those things off your plate as far as your goals and the things that you want to accomplish.